So in other words, in the memory model, it looks like this. My var is going to store id1 because we passed in id1 for the first one. My var2 is going to store id1 also because we passed in id1. Sorry, this should be my var. And my var2 is also going to be storing that. It's going to be storing id1. So then it says print my var. Okay, well, we look here now. It says print my var. Since we're in this box, I simply print id1. Okay, id1 is A. Okay, next we are on this line, and it says my var is equal to B. Alright, so I'm going to change this into id2 now is B because I didn't have a B. Okay, so next we've got my var2 is equal to C. Alright, so since my var2 is equal to C and I don't have a C, I'll need to make one just like I did for B. So like that, and my var, I'm going to change my var2 to that. So we're still here now. My var2 became C. Okay, and then it turns out there's no point of that because we're going to change my var2 again. So my var2 is equal to func1 of my var. Alright. Now you notice that we're inside this function block still. We still haven't gotten out, and yet there's just yet another function call. So another function call just happened right here, which means I'll need to make another one of these boxes. And by this box, the second box has to go inside here. Inside this box, we're going to have a box inside a box, or in other words, a function call inside a function call. So, and over here we're going to have the return value, which we don't know yet. So anyway, we notice that back here in this line, where we're calling func1, whatever func1 is going to return, it's going to be stored in my var2, the local my var2 of func2. So the local my var2 of func2 is right here. So this is going to change. So I'm just going to put, well, whatever is going to get returned here for func1, this function call 1, it's going to be stored in my var2. Alright, so now, since we were here, this blue arrow, and now since the function call just happened, interestingly enough, we're going to jump back here. So now, we notice here that we passed in my var. What do we pass in? Whatever my var is in func2. Okay, it's id2 right now. So we're passing in id2. Since we're passing in id2 over here, func1's my var. So here, my var is going to take id2. So since we're passing in id2, my var of func1 is going to take the value id2. So over here we've got id2. Alright, so moving on. We were over here, so going through this quickly now. Print my var. Okay, let's print my var. We're still here in this box. We can't leave it unless there's a return statement, or we're done. And it says print my var, which is id2. What's id2? It's B. Now we go here. It says my var is equal to A. Do we have an A? Yes, we do. It's already id1. So we can just write 1, id1. Okay, next we've got print my var. Okay, my var is id1, id1 is a. Alright, moving on to the next line, it says return my var. Alright, we're gonna return id1 right here. And I know that this myvar2 actually belongs to the last place this box came from, which is here. So this myvar2 is the same as this one. So I'm just going to change this. This is now id1, and we're done with this. So we can get rid of this. Alright. So now we're done tracing through this black line. Okay? And so this is done. We can get rid of that. Alright, so the reason why we did that whole detour of going into function 1 is because function 1 got called over here in line 13. My var2 is equal to function 1 and my var. So we did, using the black arrow, we traced through that. Now we're back here. We just finished this line. So that means we cross out this box, and now we're still here now. We're in this space, in this local space of func2, and we cross out the function 1 box. Now we move on to the next line because we've successfully reassigned my var2. So line 14 says print my var. Okay, well, my var is just id2. Okay, id2 is b. Then it says print my var2 for this line. Okay, and my var2 is id1, as you can see. So id1 is a. Okay, so that will do it for that line. Then we've got my var is equal to my var2 for our next line. This is saying that reassign whatever my var is to what my var2 is. Okay, so my var is equal to my var2. So what's my var2? It's id1. So it's saying switch or change my var to whatever my var2 is. So change it to id1. Okay, and we're done with that line. So finally done with this line. And then it says return my var. Now you remember that there's a reason why we came here. We came here because func2 got called somewhere. Well, that's the red arrow. This red arrow is what called func2. So you'll remember all the way back here that this was actually going to be storing my var in global space over here. So as you can see here, my var is equal to func2. This is what called this function. So we're done with this finally. So we can get rid of that, and it's whatever func2 returned gets stored in my var. Well, func2 just returned my var in local space id1 because func2 returns my var in local space. So now that means that in global space we're done with this box, and we change in global space my var to id1, and look at that, it's already id1, so we don't need to do anything for this part. Okay, so we are done with this function. Then we're done this line. Now you move on to the next line, and we get print my var. My var is id1, and id1 is a. And that should do it for this whole example. So you'll notice that the memory model came in handy here, even though it's all this code that you saw here was pretty pointless code. It's just good for tracing through and figuring out what's happening in memory model. Okay, well, that should do it for this video, and hope that was helpful to you. And what you can do is plug in all that code into your Wing IDE or whatever IDE you use, and once you run the code, you should get this as your output.